Chiefs fans, we are coming off an enormous victory, our second back-to-back victory Monday of the year. And if I do say so myself, this one feels even better than the last. A dominant win over the Baltimore Ravens, who were definitely dealing with some injuries. We'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot to be happy about for the Kansas City Chiefs coming out of this week. Not just because of this big win, but also because of what happened across the rest of the NFL. Some great occurrences in the AFC West that really moved the needle forward for us. And in my opinion, guys, Week 4 could not have gone better for Kansas City. And if you don't agree with me now, I promise you will by the end of this one. But before we get into all of that, I need some help from you guys. We got to celebrate. We've got to celebrate our Victory Monday together as a Chiefs Kingdom. Get down there and like today's video if you're happy, if you're feeling good about the way the Chiefs performed yesterday, because I need your guys' support. The bosses have been really noticing the way we've been performing. We had a big video last week. Really appreciate you guys on that one. Big likes on that, really strong like ratio. That drove us in the algorithm. I need you guys to help us out once again. Get down there and smash that like button. But let's get into today's show. So we got three main things we're going to cover. Number one, why this win is so huge. There's a couple things that happened on the field that made it really huge, and then we'll obviously talk about the AFC West occurrences as well. But I've also got some Week 4 studs and some Week 4 duds. Even in a win as great as this one, there were a couple things I felt like we could have cleaned up. A couple guys that I felt like could have done a little bit better. And then we also got some guys that I absolutely want to highlight for you in our Week 4 studs and duds section. And then lastly, like I've mentioned, some things happening across the AFC West this week that moved the needle forward for the Kansas City Chiefs that we absolutely have to discuss. So let's start with why this win was so huge. Number one, the obvious. We dodged the 1-3 bullet. And if you don't know what I mean by the 1-3 bullet, starting your season 1-3 is about as bad as it gets. The only worst thing you could do would be starting 0-3. The precedent for making the postseason after that is extremely low. But only one team in the entire history of the NFL has ever made the Super Bowl after a 1-3 start. Going to give you a few seconds to run down and comment if you think you know the answer on who it is. A little trivia question for you. It's the 2001 New England Patriots. If you got that right, give yourself a little pat on the back. But the other reason why I think we could not start this season 1-3 is our next 5 games coming up. Look at this schedule. It is absolutely brutal. And maybe it didn't feel that way coming into this season with the Jaguars not being expected to be good. But look out, guys. That team is 3-1. We're going to see them on Monday Night Football next week. Liam Cohen's got them looking really good. And right after them, we've got the Detroit Lions. That's another enormous game against another team that's starting off really well, 3-1 after a bit of a down week in the first week. They're right back on track to where they were over the last few seasons under Dan Campbell. And then obviously we've got the Raiders divisional game in Week 7. They're not having a great year, but divisional opponents will always play you tough. Week 8, we're going to see the Commanders, and they're 2-2, but I don't think you can look at that record and judge them as how good they are because, again, they've played the last 2 weeks without Jaden Daniels. That team's better than their record. And then, of course, the big one in Week 9, our rivals, the Buffalo Bills. Over the next 5 weeks, we're set to face opponents with a combined 13-7 record. And college football, maybe that's not crazy, but in the NFL, to be facing opponents who just 4 weeks through the season have already accumulated 13 combined wins, that's a pretty daunting schedule over the next couple weeks. So getting a huge win against the Baltimore Ravens and sending a message to the rest of the NFL that all 5 of those seemingly extremely daunting games are winnable and setting ourselves up for some breathing room just in case we don't win all 5 of them is extremely important. The other thing I thought was big coming out of this Week 4 victory. Our offense got its swagger back, especially in the first half. Gosh, this was the best performance we have seen all year from the Kansas City Chiefs on offense. And for the first time in a long time, Kansas City was able to score more than 35 points in a game. The last time we did that was 2 years ago, 735 days ago, on September 24th of 2023 against the Chicago Bears. And a huge part of that was Patrick Mahomes. He was his phenomenal self in this one. 67.5% completion percentage, throws for over 270 yards, phenomenal efficiency as well with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And the reason why he had his best game of the season, in my opinion, is not a mystery at all. For the first time this year as a full participant, we had our guy back. We've been talking about it for the last couple weeks. When is Xavier Worthy going to be back? What's he going to be like when he does get back? And all those questions were answered yesterday. Phenomenal game from number one. Exactly what we needed him to be in his first game back. 7 touches for 121 yards. He sparked this offense. Led us in rushing, led us in receiving. And a lot of that production came in the first half. 85 of those 127 yards coming in the first half alone, as he really helped us bury Baltimore early in this game and start quickly. Something I said was a key to victory in this game, jumping on the Baltimore Ravens. The last couple weeks, we have started extremely slowly. 14 drives over the first half of the first 3 games. And on those 14 drives, we're averaging less than 30 yards. We'd accumulated a combined 25 points and punted on nearly 40% of those drives. In the first half of week 4, it was a whole different story. This looked like an entirely different offense, averaging nearly 50 yards per drive. They scored 20 points in that half alone, did not punt a single time, and scored on 2 of their 5 possessions, or scored touchdowns on 2 of their 5 possessions, scored on 4 of their 5 total possessions. A phenomenal effort from our offense in this one. Exactly what we wanted to see in that regard. And honestly, it could have been more points if not for a missed field goal from Harrison Butker. If Harrison Butker had made that kick, we would have had 23. And that kind of goes back to the discussion we had last week about Harrison Butker, about the issues that he's had. He now falls to just 50% from beyond 50 yards in the last 2 seasons. And I don't have him coming up in the losers section because I'm going to pick on him a little bit right now. But I do think it's time to start thinking down the stretch. If these issues continue, is it time for the Kansas City Chiefs to replace Harrison Butker? But you know what it's definitely time for? It's time for you to start thinking about Omaha Steaks and time to replace your current meat provider with Omaha Steaks. Because lately, guys, I've been learning to cook a little bit more. I'm a newly engaged man, and my fiance has been trying to get me to step it up in the kitchen. And since my cooking skills are lacking, I've got to make sure I'm working with the highest quality meat to close that gap. So lately, what I've been doing is ordering this ultimate grill pack that I found on Omaha Steaks. Comes with 16 free smash burgers, ton of really good steaks to grill. And trust me, guys, this stuff is phenomenal. It's why I always use Omaha Steaks to not disappoint my girlfriend. Because when you guys use my promo code Chiefs, you're going to get $35 off the price of the package. So the package is at listing $150. But again, you're getting a 50% off discount with the site-wide Red Hot sale event, and then you also get $35 off with the promo code Chiefs. So you can knock that $150 price tag down to just $115. And again, that's dinner for the next 2 weeks. You're getting 16 free smash burgers, and we're not even talking about all the great steaks you get. So really, you've got dinner for a couple weeks on just $105. It's phenomenal value that you can't beat, and you can't beat the quality with Omaha Steaks as well. You can enjoy USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy and convenient comfort meals, plus tailgating favorites like chicken wings, smash burgers, and big deli-style franks. They're a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry, so get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit Omaha Steaks for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot sale event, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code Chiefs at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code Chiefs at checkout. See site for details. Getting back into the great discussion from our offense, one of the other things I really noticed in this game, our offensive line held up fantastically. We talked about the importance of the offensive line taking advantage of an injured Ravens unit, which we'll talk about soon. And they absolutely did that in this one. They dominated up front. Not as great of an effort as I was hoping for in the run game, but the time they were able to buy Patrick Mahomes in the passing game was huge. Our last 3 weeks, we've been averaging a 36.2% pressure rate, and this one just 19%. And again, this is why you guys subscribe to the channel, because if you'd seen our preview, this would have been no surprise to you. We talked about it. We talked about how elite quarterbacks have had time to throw against the Baltimore Ravens, how their defense has struggled to get pressure. And we also talked about the injuries. If you had listened in our week 4 preview, you would have known that Baltimore was missing 3 key players coming into this one. Those guys are Nnamdi Madubuike, Travis Jones, and Kyle Van Noy. 3 key injuries on that defensive front. None of those 3 guys took a snap in this one. And you could absolutely see the impact that had on their ability to get pressure and their ability to stop the run. We had to run through a variety of people to really get things going, but it was probably our best effort on the ground all season long. And I honestly think more of that was on the Ravens missing pieces on defense than it was our effort up front, as much as I wish it wasn't that way. But it didn't end there for the Ravens injury-wise. They also dealt with a number of key injuries that occurred during the game. They lost 3 guys that had to exit while the game was going on, and none of these guys ended up returning. Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, and Nate Wiggins all exiting with hamstring, calf, and elbow injuries, respectively. Devastating losses for this Ravens defense throughout this game. And the final reason, speaking of defense, why I think this week 4 win was enormous for us, why it's going to set us up well going forwards, is our defense showed out in this game. It was a fantastic performance from Steve Spagnuolo's unit, and I think his game plan was the key to that. He brought the heat again. Something we've seen throughout the year with Steve Spagnuolo's unit is how much he's willing to blitz. He's willing to roll the dice, and it seems like he's ramping it up whenever we face elite quarterbacks, or it could just be we faced a lot of elite quarterbacks early on in the season. But check out these blitz rates over the first 4 weeks. So in week 1 against Justin Herbert, we blitzed about 41.5% of the time. In week 2 against Jalen Hurts, it was a whopping 60% against the Philadelphia Eagles. 60% of the time we were sending pressure. 16.2% against Russell Wilson. So again, that's kind of what I mean when we ramp it up against elite quarterbacks, trying to get them off schedule, trying to speed up the clock. And I think it really worked. Again, 33% against Lamar Jackson. And you could tell he was just uncomfortable in that pocket. And the Ravens offensive line has been a weak point. They've struggled to pick up blitzes, and they struggled once again. Lamar versus the blitz in this one was pretty rough. 39 yards on 7 attempts. He was quite accurate, but couldn't get the ball down the field. Didn't have time to do that, averaging less than 6 yards per attempt in this one. No touchdowns when he was blitzed. He had an interception, and his passer rating was just 45.2. Again, that's not out of 100. That is out of 158.3. And this is one of the most elite quarterbacks in the NFL. We talked in my week 4 keys to victory about the importance of limiting Lamar's impact on the game, how he can take over. And this is a exciting result from your defense to be able to limit him the way we did. Less than 200 yards of total offense from Lamar in this game. But I want to hear from you guys. What about the week 4 performance excites you the most going forward? What did you watch and go, gosh, that is going to be the key to our success down the line this season? Was it the way the defense performed? Was it getting Xavier Worthy back? Was the offensive line taking a big step forward? You let me know in the comments, and let's get into our week 4 studs and duds. Starting with the positive end of things, how could we not, coming off a 37-20 victory, and how could we not mention Patrick Mahomes in this section? What a game. What a phenomenal game from the best quarterback in the NFL. Absolutely torched the Ravens in this one, really showed up. And I think a huge part of the reason why he was able to show up was the offensive line performing as well as they did, buying him the time they needed to have that kind of success. And it was also because of my second stud in this one, Xavier Worthy. Fantastic game from Xavier Worthy. 7 touches for 121 yards, 5 receptions for 83. And we were getting him involved in all the ways we could. Jet sweep action touches for him. I love to see Worthy. He's somebody that you want to get the ball in his hands no matter how it happens. You know he can make explosive plays every single time. That quote from Patrick Mahomes on him really sticks with me. It doesn't matter if it's a 5-yard out or a 20-yard ball down the field. He can take everything to the end zone, and I feel like he really had that energy yesterday. Someone who also brought a ton of energy yesterday, George Karlaftis. 8 pressures for him on the defensive end, leading the team in a day where we absolutely needed somebody to step up. Emotional day for Chris Jones yesterday, coming off of that funeral, flying in late. George Karlaftis was able to step up and be a big-time leader. Not that Chris Jones didn't have a good game. I thought he was pretty well, or thought he played pretty well as well, especially considering the circumstances. But just wanted to really give a shout out to George Karlaftis. Feel like he continued what's been a very solid year for him. And somebody else I want to give a shout out to, a little honorable mention to rookie Brashard Smith. How about Brashard in this one? If you guys follow me on Twitter, I was live tweeting during this game, and I was getting really excited about how much we were seeing Brashard Smith, because the rookie is somebody I think is incredibly explosive. You look at the combine testing for him, you look at what he did at SMU as a receiver before converting to running back. I think he's someone we need to give more touches. Just add to that speed combination in the offense. I feel like we get Worthy, Thornton, and Smith going. We've got speed, and we've got more speed. I want to see all three of those guys touching the ball as much as humanly possible. Let's move on to some guys I want to see touch the ball less. Kareem Hunt. A lot of touches for Kareem Hunt in this one, and not a lot of production from Kareem Hunt in this one. Very disappointing game. And again, this just goes back to, we got to move away from running the ball with Kareem Hunt. We got to move away from, even to some degree, running the ball with Isaiah Pacheco. I want to see more touches for Brashard Smith in that rushing game. I want to see them open it up for him a lot more, because Kareem Hunt at this point in his career is no longer explosive. He is no longer capable of making guys miss. He has just 3 missed tackles forced on 42 carries this season. Let that sink in. 3 missed tackles forced on 42 carries. I'm not going to do the math. I'm not very good at math. But that's an extremely low percentage of times we've given you the ball where you've made anything happen with it other than walk 3 yards and fall down. Just not good enough from Kareem Hunt. We need more from Brashard. Somebody else I thought was a little bit of a dud in this one, and I know I led this off by saying I don't want to see these guys touch the ball. That's not true of Jalen Royals. I really want to see more of Jalen Royals. Just 14 snaps in this one total for him. Only 4 of those were on plays where we actually threw the ball. Pretty disappointing given the precedent that we were given from Andy Reid going into this one was that Jalen Royals was ramping back up, was that he was going to be a presence in this game. And he was anything but a presence in this game. I'm hoping that it's a ramp that kind of goes like this, where we start low and quickly rise. But if that snap count doesn't jump up fast for Jalen Royals, we're going to be left asking some questions. And right now it's, where is he on that depth chart? But let's get into what else happened in the AFC West this week. Some really positive news for us. If you didn't see, Raiders lost to the Bears on an absolute stunner. One of the worst ways to lose a football game. You get your game-winning kick blocked. They fall to 1-3. Been a painful year for Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. Chargers, they got stunned by Jackson Dart in his NFL debut, and the New York Giants get their second win of the year, and the Chargers move to 3-1. And lastly, the Denver Broncos, they haven't played yet. They're off to a 1-2 start. They'll face the Bengals on Monday Night Football. So here's what all of that means for us as far as the AFC West standings go. Obviously, the Chargers sitting pretty in the 1 spot right now, 3-1. Can't do anything about that just yet. But we can lock in that second position. Even after starting 0-2, we can lock in being second in our division after week 4 if the Denver Broncos lose tonight. We'd be firmly in that second place, and we'd just be tied with it even if they won. That's pretty good. Considering the way we started this season, we got enough help from the rest of our division to make it not really matter, and coming off of 2 wins these last 2 weeks, we're right back in position to really have a say about the AFC West. And I think the Chiefs are going to be in control of this thing in just a few more weeks. But we'll keep you guys up to date on everything as it happens with your Kansas City Chiefs. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Go Chiefs.